Hi, and welcome along to the weekend roundup here on DR Sports, the show where we ran up all of the big games over the weekend, and there were loads of massive games over this weekend, loads of talking points, lots of things to talk about. Joining me to discuss those, Abby, of course, Abby Summers, big
Morning.
Tottenham fan, with a smile on her face today. Big win for them yesterday. We've got Alex, AGT from the Cock TV, Liverpool fan, as you know, and you're up, man.
No, he's not really here. I'm not even here.
Present.
I'm not even here.
Matisse.
Hologramming.
Get off that phone. Stop looking at that phone, man. It's only someone.
I'm looking at the chat to see if I'm getting cussed.
I'm saying it's,
you are.
it's only someone on your WhatsApp or in the chat having a go at you. You know what I mean? Go easy on him today, guys. Matisse.
He's delicate.
Matisse, Chelsea fan. We will get to that game. Tottenham versus Chelsea. As I said, lots and lots of big games going on. Don't forget to smash that like button today if you're loving the show, and get involved as well in the comments. We want to hear from as many of you as possible. Lots of games to start. I'm going to start with your game. Let me just start with your game. Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0. Now, you wouldn't normally start with a 0-0 in a match of the day. You'd be last on match of the day.
Yeah.
But 0-0 against Crystal Palace. Bit damaging, this one, because you know, all right, I know it's off the back of the 5-2 last week defeat against Real Madrid, but it was a chance for Liverpool to bounce back. You still got to try and get into that top four, and 0-0 in the end. And I tell you what, if Mateta would have been a bit more clinical in front of goal, you might not even have got that point.
Yeah, I think in the end, probably lucky to escape there with 1 point. If you look at the chances that both teams created, there wasn't many. I mean, Mateta hit one off the bar. I think Salah had a great shot that came off the underside of the bar. On reflection, a draw is probably a fair result. But to consider the fact that we've beaten Palace in the last 7 visits to Selhurst Park, plus the fact that they haven't won a game in 2023, everything led to surely a Liverpool victory there. But again, toothless, man. I was watching that game, and in the first 2 minutes, I knew it was going to be a 0-0. You get that feeling sometimes, don't you, where you just think, we're not going to create anything today. The start was poor, the finish was poor, and there wasn't really many good moments. I guess the one saving grace, maybe, if I'm reaching, which I am, is a clean sheet after conceding 5 against Real Madrid. I think Naby Keita, lucky to even stay on until half-time. I mean, he's going to leave for free at the end of the summer. I can't believe that. After the 6-year deal that we gave him back in 2017, he has to go. No more starting for him now in Liverpool midfield. If we're going to let him go for free in the summer, why are you carrying on starting him? Here's a damning stat, though, that I read after the game. Stefan Bajcetic is the only Liverpool player to score after the 50th minute in Liverpool's last 13 league games. So that shows you that we're not finishing games well. We don't really look threatening after the second half. So, drop points, making it harder for us to get into the top 4 again.
You were very confident last week.
Yeah, I was, but after that
performance, you came in here last week, you were buzzing.
Of course I was.
You said, top 4's on.
It still is on.
You said that you'd do a job on Real Madrid as well.
I did, but again, I just told you off air, that's the best performance I've ever seen any team have at Anfield as an away team. I was standing there clapping them as they went off. And I think Nunez was massively missed. He had a bit of a shoulder injury against Madrid, and in training that flared up a bit again. So it would have been great to see him. But again, not clinical from Jota. I know he's just come back. He's going to need a bit more time. Gakpo as well, probably could have done he had a big chance. Could he have taken round the keeper and gone down and got a penalty? You've got to think like that sometimes. But their team was makeshift. Really, when you look at the players, I mean, Ayew and Mateta up front.
Had a good game.
Yeah. He did. He was good. Number 8 he was as well. But I can't believe that we couldn't score a goal against that team that haven't won a game this season. So listen, it's 4 points short.
I mean, he was confident about top 4 last week.
Still time.
You're
Still time to get it.
Points,
Still got 2 games in hand, Rob.
2 games in hands, but you are 9 points behind Tottenham now.
Yeah, but they've still got to come to Anfield, and we've got 2 games in hand. So it's still there. I'm not writing it off, but it was easily the most boring game I've watched this season in terms of, from a Liverpool perspective, just boring.
What's wrong with Liverpool, man? What's wrong? This Liverpool team, so good last year in every competition, can tear a team apart. I've been on, I've been Arsenal, Anfield. I've been on the end of it many a times.
Many a times, yeah. Seen you in the car park crying.
No, not in the car park crying.
I have linked you in the car park a couple
You
of
will
times.
be there crying now, right? But what's gone wrong? What's up?
Well, Liverpool are out of the Champions League, and I've got to say the manager's got to be out now as well. No, I'm sorry, that was what you said last week, sorry.
Well, listen, you know what? I can run jokes, you can't.
Listen, if I can't run jokes, then what am I? I'm a joke man. I make jokes. That was funny, that was funny.
Come on, man.
No, listen,
What's wrong?
Well, the thing is, we say what's wrong, but the first 20 minutes of the Madrid game, we were saying Liverpool are back, weren't we? 2-0 against the European champions after 20 minutes. That was the best 20 minutes I've experienced ever at Anfield, by the way. So we look like we're back for 20 minutes, and then as you've seen from that start, we don't continue that run through into the second half. So I think energy is
defence or
midfield and defence. I think again, I mean Henderson blocking that Trent free kick, that just sums up Liverpool's season. That was going in because the keeper was rooted, by the way. That was top bins, and even Trent, it was almost as if he'd had a penalty saved. He was that gutted. But I think the energy levels in the second half especially, that's one thing that Liverpool haven't been able to keep up. And I think when there's no Mane, who was non-stop, he was a Duracell battery. He never stopped, did he, from minute 1 to 90. That makes a big damage to the team. But then his replacement, Diaz, is also out. But the answer is the midfield and the defence.
What do you think's going wrong, Matisse, at Liverpool?
I'm just, to be honest, I'm more disappointed in Palace is what I'm taking away from that game. They haven't won a game this year, but if Eze had started when he came on, that 10-minute spell, 15-minute spell when he was on,
some player he is.
Yeah,
by the way.
he changed the flow of the game, and then obviously Milner was at right back. He went off to the left, caused a few problems, and then it kind of fizzled out again. Like you said, Mateta up front and Jordan Ayew, both of them so frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Whether it's crossing the ball, Jordan Ayew out for a goal kick, whether it's Mateta missing a couple of big opportunities. If Palace had a striker, they might actually be able to cook something, because Liverpool were there for the taking.
Zaha as well.
Yeah, no Zaha as well. Liverpool were there for the taking. And I feel like with Liverpool, everybody keeps kind of jumping on a couple wins and then, one good result, and then, they're going to go on this run. They're not going on any run. Ooh. They're not going on any run. I've said it from months ago. It's not happening. Okay. At the end of the day, when it comes down to Liverpool, their issues are fundamental, and Klopp is also part of the problem in terms of his in-game management. When you're 2-0 up against Real Madrid and you just allow it, the first goal's pegged back, cool, that's your warning. Now it's time to tighten up the ship. Look at Ten Hag and what he's done at Manchester United in the last week. His in-game management has been brilliant. Klopp is not impacting the football game from the touchline. He's not making any sort of change. He's not changing the flow of the game. He's not making any impact. And I know, because I'm seeing it right in front of my eyes and my team as well. So you can see very clearly when a manager is able to make an impact and when a manager is not, and when they're not really having any sort of grasp on the game and the game's just passing them by. That's what's happening, in my opinion anyway.
Abby, do you think they can catch you for that top 4 spot?
I would never write them out of catching us, because I would always say that Tottenham have the ability to be completely inconsistent, despite what's happened in the last few weeks. Do I think that you've got a lot of improving to do, and I don't necessarily know if you're going to do it this season, because I look at that midfield and I don't see a midfield that's like worthy of Liverpool at the moment. There are so many levels below what you'd expect from Liverpool, and that's just, I think, because of age. I think maybe because of you're at the end of a cycle, and I think that it's we've been saying the same thing. Defence and midfield is the big problem. Obviously, you've had injuries throughout the course of this season, but they're just in a bit of a dead end cycle at the moment, and that cycle needs to finish in the summer. But I would never write them out of potentially getting back into it, because it is only 9 points.
If they are to go on a run, these are the games coming up for them. They've got Wolves at home. Wolves always a team that sort of give you a little issue, but that's on Wednesday.
At home, yeah.
Wolves at home. Man United at home. That's a big game now, isn't it?
Huge.
Next week, Sunday. Followed by Bournemouth away. Then you've got the next tie against Real Madrid. I guess you write that off. And then Fulham at home. And then Man City away. I mean, some big games coming up in that.
Who are your games?
If it's to go on a run.
I actually don't know. It'll be one of them.
You've got 2 or 1?
We've got two against over you, but then obviously you've got to come. It'll be one of those two. I think Matisse's point about the in-game management.
It's probably the game on Wednesday, isn't it? Probably Wolves.
Probably is, yeah. I'll be at that game. I think Matisse's point about the in-game management is valid, because we're looking to win the game. You take Trent off and put James Milner on at right back, and you bring Fabinho on. That to me says you're trying to see out a win.
See out a point.
See out a point.
that
Where
sounds like
you've got Fabio Carvalho on the bench.
Yep.
But
I don't know what he's
like
done,
you're
by
being
the way.
slightly
He's
more
not getting a
critical.
game,
Klopp.
Carvalho, is
No,
he?
that's what I'm.
You're being, just calling it as
He
a
doesn't
skill.
escape it. He
No, I
doesn't
know. I
escape
just
it.
you've been very.
I love the guy, but you know his in-game management needs to.
Been very rigid on
needs
that.
to
Right,
improve.
Klopp out. Come on.
I know you guys are. You guys are praying for me to say those fable words.
I don't-
aren't you?
Is he running out of time?
No, he's not.
No.
That's
I'm
that's
just
the
like,
thing.
it's a legitimate question to ask.
Sounded like a little bit more.
It's not. Let me.
Next week.
I won't let you go through this again, right? When I'm criticising Klopp's in-game management, it's because of what you just said. You take off your most creative player
And I've
in
just
Trent.
said it, yeah.
You don't use Carvalho. You're bringing on Fabinho, who's been awful since the
Awful,
start of
mate.
last year. He only makes you weaker when he comes on at the moment. The amount of mistakes he's making.
He's a walking red card.
He's a walking red card, exactly. But that doesn't mean Klopp's time is running out because
Yeah.
he's got so much credit in the bank, like
And
a ridiculous amount of credit.
I
in the
get
bank.
that.
In his press conference this week, he almost lifted the lid on the plans in the summer.
Yeah.
And that really encouraged Liverpool fans. He said, we have to go massive in the summer, is what he said. 3 or 4 names coming in. So again, it's almost like, do you go everything in for this season to get top 4? Or do you kind of sit back and say, let's rebuild in the summer? I'm like, as you know, I'm caught in between these two Venn diagram circles of being fully invested and going,
I think-
write it off then this season.
I think
can't-
this
it's in the
season's a
middle
learning
somewhere.
curve for Klopp. Not to show too much loyalty to players that are starting to go on the downward trajectory and be a bit more ruthless. That's what I would say for Klopp. This season, learning curve. Don't make this mistake again next season. That's what I would say.
So we've got some comments coming in here and loads of super chats as well. Ahmad says Liverpool will be lucky to qualify for the Europa League next season. He says you're not passing Tottenham, Brentford, Brighton and Newcastle. SK says Liverpool, very simple. Midfield work rate has gone. Defence becomes they can't press or recover. Can't make up for Trent's deficiencies. The output is down. And Mitch 1992 says, woke up to a broken watch. It says 5 past Liverpool. That's a bit
A
harsh.
broken watch works twice a day, though, so let's not forget that.
So those are some of Liverpool's woes at the moment. But listen, it just goes to show the small margins in football, how football can change from
If we
week to
scored,
week.
1-0 that game, we'd all be talking about this nice little 3-game winning streak. But that's how football is. It changes every week.
Football does change every
Every
week.
single week.
Let's move on to the Arsenal game. Arsenal beating Leicester by a 1-0, and it was I thought personally, as an Arsenal fan, I thought it was a very good performance by Arsenal.
Good away performance.
Should have won by more, really. Absolutely dominated the game. Looked like the home team. We know Leicester's a dangerous team. Their last game at home they beat Tottenham, was it 4-1? 4-1, wasn't it?
It was.
They, even that game that they lost against Man United. I didn't mean to drop it like that. I'm just giving
it's just
stats.
their face. I love it.
Even that
Brilliant.
game against Manchester United with Leicester, they started well. If it weren't for De Gea,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in this game, they didn't get a kick. There was only one. I think they only had one shot, none on target. It was like a long-range shot.
Was it 0.01 XG?
Yeah, they were
Which is
poor.
the lowest
They also
Premier
had
League
no
history.
James Maddison,
Yeah.
so the thing that makes him tick wasn't there.
That's one
Shock.
player.
Shock. He's out for your game. Shock.
Yeah.
You sound hurt by that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He played in your game, though,
Honestly,
didn't he?
it's the most Tottenham
But
thing
Arsenal were excellent on the day. And let me just say, Jorginho, again, with another great performance, Matisse. Thank you very much. He's doing very well at the moment. Jorginho at the moment, in that midfield area, is so creative.
Yeah.
What was it? Because he didn't really show as much as that at Chelsea, did he?
I think the constant managerial upheaval at Chelsea has probably worked against him. I think Kante's injury as well has worked against him because that was his perfect kind of partner in crime. And the thing is with Jorginho is he's from Sarri ball, and you guys play a lot more, I call it factory football, where it's like a conveyor belt of actions. One pass leads to the next. You guys know what you're doing. You're not dilly-dallying on the ball, looking for options. No one knows whether they should come short, make a run in behind. There's no system there. It's changing from manager to manager. There's loads of different players suited to different systems. You've put him in a team that is singing from the same song sheet. Everybody knows what their role is, and it's just flowing. And he's just able to pick up the ball, pick up his head. Saka's making a run. Martinelli's making a run, and that's what he likes. He can play the ball in between the lines. He can play progressive passes, but he needs people around him that know where to pick up the ball in the right areas and where to make the right runs, and that's what's happening. Defensively, as of yet,
You think he's improved Arsenal?
I would say Partey was brilliant. I wouldn't say that, it's going to be very difficult to improve
when I say improved Arsenal in
terms of the depth, 100%. In terms of you had Lokonga and you had El Neni.
Yeah, normally,
of course.
Thomas Partey's out. You know what you just said about Maddison. Yeah. Normally, match day, you pick the phone up, Partey's out, you just drop it. It drops out your hand. And then after that, you're just like in shivers. You're like, oh my God.
Shivers,
That's how bad it is because how important he is to the team. But the last two games, two really tricky away games, away at Aston Villa and away at Leicester, Partey's not played. Partey came off the bench at the weekend, so he was fit. He didn't start Partey, and we didn't miss him. And I thought Jorginho was excellent, and Trossard as well. I mean, have those two signings kind of transformed Arsenal?
They've improved you.
Definitely. I told you they would when you signed them, and Arsenal fans were sitting there saying, yeah, but we want Mudryk and we want this one, and Caicedo for 80 million. And I remember sitting there doing a transfer show and saying they're smart signings. You've got someone like Trossard who you got for an absolute bargain, and I still think Tottenham should have, not offered 12 million and should have offered the actual price and gone for him. But I think it was a really smart signing for Arsenal.
He's looking to steal it.
Looking a really good steal, slots in perfectly to what you're implementing. And with Jorginho, it's someone that's done it before. He's won loads of things with Chelsea. It's come in, it's bringing that mentality. And also, you're bringing him in not to replace Partey, but to when Partey's out, to step up and do a job. And I think it was always a good signing. I never understood why Arsenal fans were so against it.
I think there's a lot of extremism on Jorginho in terms of, he's either the best DM in the world or he's the worst DM in the world. It's like he's a very, very good player. You don't do what he did in our Champions League winning campaign, do what he's done in the Euros for Italy. I saw him come on at the Emirates and change the game one time, coming on at half time. I think Tariq Lamptey came on as well and changed the game for us. He's done it plenty of times before. He's a very, very good footballer. He does still have his limitations in terms of physicality. He is at times going to get skipped past in transition if you guys don't play in a compact manner and get people around him, and then he will stack up the tackles and interceptions. I think Chelsea, funnily enough, when you look at our team now in that area in our game when we get to it, we're actually worse defensively now because now we don't have him as a sitter and we're still imbalanced. So now he has a lot to bring to the team.
I've got to say though, Rob, just before we move on, I did call this about Jorginho. I've just gone on my Twitter the day you signed him. I said, and I quote verbatim, Jorginho is a great signing for Arsenal. There will come a point where his experience sees them over the line in games this season, like the Aston Villa game. Loads of trophies in the bank. They've added him to Zinchenko and Jesus as winners. Arguably had no winners last year in the squad.
No, I think that was a very good tweet because
didn't like it though.
I don't like any of your tweets. But no. To be fair, I remember actually when we signed Jorginho and I was doing my transfer show and I'm like, I think this is a really smart signing. Makes perfect sense. And I got hammered. Like Arsenal fans, well, not all Arsenal fans, but a load of them came for me. They were like, no, it's another Chelsea op. You know what I mean? And I said, no, listen, look at this signing. Number one, he's a good player. We know he's a good player, right? Number two, I was really playing hard on that experience factor. Yeah. He's experienced. He comes in, he hits the ground running. There's no... a bit like what Chelsea have got at the moment, where they've got loads of great players, but can you start this guy in the heat of the battle at White Hart Lane when he's never been there before? We need to ease that player in. Whereas Jorginho, you can just throw him into any of them games. He's been there, done that. He's played at those grounds a million times. He knows what it is. You know what I mean? So that's why I thought it was a good signing. And Trossard as well. Trossard was another one that I thought good signing. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw the goal.
Great goal.
That he scored on the weekend. It was a great goal, which was disallowed. I don't know if you guys... what did you make of that disallowed goal?
We saw it on the Saturday football show, didn't we?
I felt that was harsh. I felt... Listen, if we're being told clear and obvious mistake, error, to be sent to the screen, and I don't know if you saw after that, Saka was just pushed over, and he wasn't sent to the screen where there's mega contact. I just felt that was so soft, that goal. If you freeze it, it does
it's a little bit naughty.
It looks like maybe he's got his hand, but I then now want to see all of these things starting getting recorded.
Consistency.
Look how many games we see, right? For instance, where players are deliberately blocking off players and stuff like that in those sort of moments and things like that. I just felt that the keeper, he didn't really get the punch right.
Yeah. was a great finish.
And then after that, the keeper, he was a half-hearted sort of. He was holding me, you know.
It was one of those.
It wasn't like, you know, I just thought it was so soft, man. And I again, with the VAR thing, I get confused. And even Gary Lineker, who obviously massive Leicester fan, he said on Match of the Day, and he tweeted that he was bemused by it. He goes, I'll take it. But he goes, I was bemused that they pulled that back for that. And took away a really good goal by Trossard, because it's a brilliant finish.
It's a great finish right in the top corner. I think when we first saw it on the Saturday Football Show, we said Arsenal have been robbed there. What is that about? We couldn't see anything. But then you look a little bit closer, and he has been a bit clever. Yeah, that is kind of stuff you see on Sunday League, stepping on man's feet, holding the keeper's arm down.
Clear and obvious error.
He's tried to be very sly about it, hasn't he? He's like holding his hand, and goalkeeper needs his hand, doesn't he? And
but he punched the keeper. And then the other thing that got me is that he punched it. He still punched it away, right? And it didn't even go to Trossard. Yeah, it weren't like it went to Trossard initially. Yeah. And like Trossard kicked it straight back in. You know what I mean? It just seemed a bit weird to me, but it didn't matter in the end. Gabriel Martinelli with the goal.
Is he alright? Is his knee okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
Nasty, that.
Yeah, he got stepped on, but he finished the game, and a very good win by Arsenal. You know what I mean? I think, you know, after that Manchester City game, I looked at the two games coming up, as I'm sure you did, and you were there going like this. Like, these are tricky away.
It's not done yet.
It's not done. No, it's far from done yet. It's far from done yet. But I looked at those games, I'm like, these are tricky games. But Arsenal did very well to negotiate both those games. Villa away, Leicester away.
3 points, mate.
Had to respond.
And they did respond. And of course, straight after that, Manchester City responded as well in emphatic style.
Thank God.
Going away and doing the business at Bournemouth.
Yeah. I mean, they're like them, and I mean, I'm not ruling United out of it either. To be fair, I'm keeping them in a title race.
I know you are, because you want as many people in this
title
race as possible.
You got everyone in there, haven't you?
I'm not right now.
Praying that Man United are in the title race. You got two horses.
All I can say is I'm happy City got back to winning ways. You know, they let me down the week before against Forest. Yeah, they look good.
Bournemouth, though.
Yeah, it's Bournemouth. Again, you've got to beat what's in front of you, as Flex would say. Speak of the devil.
Flex is in the
race.
Walking there.
Oh dear.
Flex isn't in a
You
race.
can only beat what's in front of you.
Is that the Carabao Cup you got in the hand? Oh, no, it's the water bottle. Sorry, it's the water bottle.
Dragged away by
Cecil, get him out of here! Get him out of here!
Get that Flex out.
Get him out of here!
We are going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that Man United game, because they have won the first trophy of the season. But just going back to the Arsenal.
Close the gap.
Are you starting to look at Arsenal and think they can do this?
Wrong question to ask.
I'm asking.
I think that I still think it will go further down the line.
Yeah, it's still very close. Still 2 points.
Yeah, it's still 2 points. I mean, I expect you to beat Everton this week.
That's the game in hand.
That's the game
legendary
in hand.
game in hand.
Yeah,
will be used up on Wednesday.
I expect you to win that game, and then I don't know. I don't know.
She doesn't want to say it, but the answer is yes.
There is
come on.
There is a potential that it could happen, but I will still hold out hope until the very last second that it doesn't.
Gotta love it.
Do you think they can go all the way?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. They've proved it.
I've still got City as favourites, but I think Arsenal have shown already that they're in it for the long haul. The mentality is on another level from previous squads. The depth now is there in terms of some of the players they can bring in. I still haven't seen your new Polish defender that I tried to hijack on air.
Kiwior, yeah. Kiwior should be. I reckon he might start in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Or he'll get some game time in it.
Yeah.
See, this is what we're saying when we're talking about bringing in signings, because this guy's supposed to be quite highly rated.
There's no need to bring him in right now.
And he played in the World Cup.
Yeah.
But he played every game for Poland in the World Cup. But why? Yeah, again, he's not. Can you bring him in immediately into the heat of the battle unless you have to?
There's no need.
There's no need to.
I'm interested to see how you are again when you're playing Thursday, Sunday.
Yeah, I think the squad is better now, though. I think the squad is a lot better.
Just Thursday, Sunday, just any pressure. I'm just interested to see how you're going to get on. You might be fine.
The one thing
I'll just say the squad is better now, Abby, because those signings of Jorginho and Trossard and they've come in. I mean, they both started at the weekend. It was, and Trossard was excellent. And then as well, you've got to remember that Jesus is coming back. I mean, he should be back. Well, there's rumours that he could be back within the next game or so. That he's very close to coming back, and if he comes back and hits the ground running, I mean, that's another. All right, can't look at her face.
Honestly, it's mad,
Relax,
isn't it?
man.
And people say I'm
chilled.
salty.
I'm just
You are.
chilled.
Yeah, look at her though.
I'm chilled.
Oh, jeez.
I actually dread to think
Doesn't sound
what
chill.
your reaction is going to be. I mean, I know what my reaction is going to be if they win it. I already said I'm booking flights. I'm
not
on
coming
the
in.
first plane back to Ireland.
I'll
and I'm going to
see
start
you again in August.
milking cows
I
and
won't
stuff.
be coming back.
Yeah.
I'll be having the whole summer.
So
There's this guy here, Guna San7 says, Abby, question, do you throw up after talking about Arsenal?
well, if you look at my face, it looks like I'm about to be sick every
It
time.
actually
I say
does.
it.
Can we get a
Yeah.
bag or
He
something?
goes, there's been times you look sick to the stomach talking about
He's
Arsenal.
gone green.
It does make me feel sick. It really does. I literally can't even think about it. It's like,
Oh, right.
can we change the subject now?
All right. Well, let's go to your game. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Chelsea 0. The first time you've beaten Tottenham at
Beaten
your...
Chelsea.
see, it rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? It rolls
so
off
used
the
to
tongue,
that.
Robbie,
Yeah, I'm
because it's
so-
what's meant to happen.
I'm so used to them beating you there.
Yeah.
But it worked this time. I mean, Tottenham 2, Chelsea 0. And you was at the game.
I was.
And it looked like there was a great atmosphere, and it was a great win for Tottenham, especially in that battle for the top 4. I mean, puts you on 45 points now, 4 clear of Newcastle. All right, you played a couple more games than them, but that was a very big win, wasn't
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I have to say, it didn't actually feel like a regular London derby, like between Chelsea and Tottenham. Like usually, I think there's, I don't know. I felt it felt a bit
Couple of
flat.
fights.
The battle of the bridge. this
Yeah,
season,
like
the handshake.
I mean, yeah, like every time that we play each other, it's like.
You guys really
it's
hate
hot.
each
We
other.
really hate each other.
I didn't
It's
even
like
realise
proper
how bad it was,
feisty.
you know, Rob.
Yeah, the hatred
proper
is
hatred.
proper real. But yes, for me, I just didn't feel that type of hatred. I've never been more disappointed in a Chelsea side, if that makes sense. And just the performance you put out. I thought Tottenham were obviously by far the better team. I thought second half more so. But what I noticed, and we were talking about it before we started the show, was that there just is no coherency in that Chelsea side. I think that they don't really know how to play together. I think a lot of that is purely for the fact you've brought in so many players. You know, obviously there is blame that's being pointed at the manager as well. But I genuinely think that when you've got so many new players in that squad, it's weird. Like, they don't know how to create anything. They don't know how to move the ball forward. I thought Enzo looked average to me
I've got a stat on Enzo
I
that
thought he looked
Matisse
really
will not want to
average.
hear, by the way.
Give me the stat.
The stat is, right, and again, it's facts. Since his move to Chelsea, no player in Europe's top 5 leagues has been dribbled past more times per game than Enzo.
I mean,
3 times a game.
I thought João Felix was probably your best player yesterday for me.
At the start of the game.
Yeah, at the start, but I thought he was the one that actually looked like he could create something and do something. Other than that, I thought you were really, really flat. I thought Tottenham got the job done. Really happy for Oliver Skip.
Great goal by Skip.
Great goal.
What a
First goal.
strike.
At first, I was
First
thinking
goal for
maybe the
club.
keeper could have done better.
I agree. I think Kepa could have done
You
better.
think your keeper? I
Doesn't
don't know.
deal
but
well
then
with long-range
No,
shots,
he doesn't at all.
absolutely. Yeah, he's not good at long range
Not
shots.
good at long
I don't
range
want to
shots.
take anything off of
Yeah,
Skip though, because it was a really good.
It was a great
really
strike,
good
but I was
goal.
just thinking to myself, like, just thinking my keeper, Ramsdale, I was like, I think Ramsdale would have tipped it over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is Kepa's weak point, his long shots and top corner, and we saw it against Leicester in the cup
Why,
final
though?
with Tielemans, because he's short.
Is he?
and his arms are not the longest. Like, if you look at him,
What, like Pickford?
yeah, I mean, look, yeah, compare him to Mendy and the reach and the height, and it's easy to see why he struggles with that. He's better saving the shots lower on the ground. He's a bit more like a cat, very agile, but he's not great at saving those powerful shots in the top corner.
I've got a question from you, Matisse, as a Chelsea fan. Are Chelsea in a relegation battle with their current form? They are closer to the bottom 4 than to the bottom 3 than they are to the top 4. Not even to the top of the league, to the top 4. I mean, we're going to run Graham Potter's press. You know, take a listen to this. This was Graham Potter talking after the game.
Disappointing result. Would you acknowledge that has a dynamic to change moving forward?
Well, there's always that question, absolutely. And you can't stop the questions. And whilst the results are like they are, then I accept it. It's part of the job. We were talking before the game about, watching the All or Nothing at Arsenal, and 2 years into Mikel's reign, he's close to getting the sack and people are wanting him out, and it's a disaster. And obviously now things have changed a little bit. But that's just the way it is. You know, if you look at Jurgen's situation, they haven't got the results, and all of a sudden people want him out. That's just the nature of football. And obviously, I haven't done enough at this club to have too much good faith, and I also accept that as well. So my job is to not to worry too much about that. Understand the question, understand where it comes from totally, and just to try to focus on keep helping the team, keep supporting the players, because I really like these players. They're good lads. They want to do better. They want to win. But at the moment we're suffering, and that's my responsibility.
Well, Matisse is suffering as well, mate. I mean, he's referencing there the All or Nothing documentary, Matisse.
It's desperate.
I mean,
Embarrassing.
Desperate. It's getting desperate. When you're making those, that is a footballtwitter.com type reference.
Yes.
Oh, look what Arteta did. Look what Klopp did. What are you doing now? Do you want some stats? Do you want some real stats?
Let's get some real stats. Hit us up with them stats.
I'm done. You know, you can go for individuals. People want to take looks at Mudryk one week, Enzo next week. You know, Mount the week before. At the end of the day, when everybody's playing in a manner that is, you know, there's no clear system in place in terms of pressing from the front, in terms of build-up play, in terms of creating chances, in terms of even defending now, then you have to look at only one man, which is the guy that's responsible. And every single game that goes past, his percentage of responsibility goes up and up in terms of the context of new players being recruited. That starts to fade, right? If you take away Tuchel's 10 points that were accumulated at the start of the season, with 3 wins and 1 draw against Tottenham, which we should have won that game, really, we are on 21 points. We are 17th under Graham Potter. Now, on average, you can give him some bonus points and say if he was at the start of the season, maybe he'd be on 25 points, right? On average, based on his own record. But the point is he's in relegation form. He would be in a relegation battle right now. And you asked me the question before the video played, are we in a relegation battle? I've been screaming on the big six for 40 points, and people think I'm joking. People think I'm messing around, because we're in a position here where the board are so hell-bent on we are going to back this guy. We're going to give him a mentality monster coach coming in from Australia. We're going to give him, you know, a new gaming room in Cobham. We're going to give him everything. Going to give him everything we've got.
New trim.
Yeah, because if this doesn't work, they look incredibly stupid, and it's humble pie, because they sacked an elite manager, a guy that I defended right up until the end, who got to every single cup final last season under sanctions, with a Lukaku situation to have won the Champions League. Everybody diminishes his job and says, oh, he's playing a free at the back, he can't coach an attack. My team have scored 1 goal in February, the goal of the month, the best goal, the most difficult goal, the most interesting goal, the worst goal. It's all the same goal. Felix against West Ham. We scored 1 goal in this month. We've scored 6 goals. What was that beautiful stat?
Mitch 1992 says 2023 Man United trophies won, Chelsea goals won. I mean, that's damning as it is, but carry on.
This stat,
mad.
Chelsea have scored 6 goals in all competitions since November the 6th. The fewest of any side in the top 4 tiers of English football, and 40 fewer than Manchester United, who have obviously produced this is the same period of time.
With all the money spent.
I mean, put it this way, Madrid were here for 4 hours and scored more than Chelsea have in
Right, chill out.
That is our friendship on thin ice, Abby. Thin ice, our friendship. Jesus, what was that for? Jesus.
That's a good stat, Abby.
Catching hella strays, man.
Damn.
Friendly fire.
Oh, I've got heartburn after that. Jesus, Abby.
I'm sorry.
That is very mean.
You need a Gaviscon.
I mean, it must be painful to watch Chelsea at the moment.
It's so painful, Robbie, and it's like, I am all for giving a manager time, but the excuses or the context just will never run out. In pre-season, it will be we've got too many players, right? Because we've got to get rid of the 34-man squad and bring that down to something normal, and that's going to take time, and that's going to take the whole pre-season, the whole transfer window, and then the start of next season will be, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that. At the end of the day, management, by definition, is getting through difficult circumstances and managing that and getting results. How many times have we all sat here and said, you know what, today there's an issue here, but we've got to fix it. You know, you have to get results. You can't just keep losing games continuously on and on and on. You know, and at the end of the day, on 31 points, for me, his job will become untenable if it keeps going in this way. For me, it's already. I said last week, please resign at the start of my video. So it's already untenable for me.
But they're not going to sack him.
They're not going to.
They keep saying they're not going to.
They will have to. If he
I
keeps
think
losing,
there comes a stage where you've got.
What is the stage if you go out the Champions League?
I don't know what the stage. For them, I think
you win. I think you lose the next couple of games. Come on. I mean, it's getting ridiculous.
For a lot of the fans, we've already passed that stage, and people will say Chelsea fans are spoiled. But 2 wins in 16 matches. That is horrendous. Like, we're not asking for a 10-win. No, Chelsea fans are not asking for a 10-game winning streak. Chelsea fans are not asking for, we don't want a long-term vision or a process. But you have to do that under the right person. And the question marks of him being the right person are completely valid. He's never done it at this level before. He has to show it. He has to prove it. He's trying to prove himself. And talking about documentaries from the season before, and talking about the last week, the assistant manager prepared really well, and then the manager comes out and says, we didn't really have time to do tactics. This game, you come up against another assistant manager and you lose. Come on, man.
10 points off the top 4.
I don't care about top 4.
Sorry. No, wait a minute. My apologies.
What are you talking about?
10 points off.
Slow down there, buddy.
10 points off.
Apologies. 10 points off the relegation zone.
10
What
points
am I
off the
talking
bottom
about?
three.
Because I'm talking about
This is
Chelsea,
what-
I'm just assuming that 10 points off the relegation zone. If he loses a couple more games, come on, you got.
But it's going to cost them 80 mil, and then it's going to cost them another 8 mil.
So
to get someone else in.
that's what I said last week, but apparently there is a termination clause in the contract. I would hope so. Any smart business person should have termination
What is the
clauses in the
clause?
contract. I don't know. It hasn't been told to anyone, but that's the report. That's just the loose terms. My thing is with him is that the season is almost done. You go out to Dortmund and the season's finished for me. You're not getting top 4, as I said many times before. Don't really care about Europa League, Conference League. This is all just to get confidence back into his veins. I'm numb. So for me, there comes a time where either you have to get an interim if he keeps losing, or you need to look for a manager, a better, a proper replacement long term. But I don't know who.
Because I think you'll end up going for someone like Pochettino.
I don't know
personally.
who. That's the thing.
I'm just curious to know if you would be. If that's who you would
I think
want.
Tuchel could come back.
I don't think
Tuchel won't. See, this is the
I
thing.
think Tuchel doesn't get on with the owner at all.
Tuchel doesn't get on with the ownership. So as much as that would be great to have him back and all these things, even though he did make a couple errors in recruitment, but now we have the recruitment team behind him. Same with Klopp. You build a recruitment team around these managers who maybe in recruitment wise you have question marks over. My thing is, in hindsight, Ten Hag would have been the perfect person because he's ticking all the boxes. He's managed the Ronaldo situation. He's a winner. He's pragmatic, but he wants to play good football when he can.
He's not an
available.
option.
So those boxes that need ticking is what I'm looking for out there, and I can't find anyone
Zidane?
as of yet. He doesn't even speak English, I don't think, does he? So I don't know.
He must do.
Rafa's still, a return for Rafa. Ashby says Potter has made Reece James one of the worst attacking fullbacks in the league. He doesn't attack anymore. He goes, get him out. HM says Matisse Sweater says nothing to lose. He goes and he's got a laughing emoji. Says that's poetic. There is a lot to lose at the moment. It's desperate there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's desperate. It is. I don't even have any words for him. Like I said, it's the worst Chelsea side I say side because your squad is obviously not is great on paper, but in general, it's the worst Chelsea performance I think I've ever seen come to Tottenham.
Todd Miller, big Chelsea fan, always used to come on, banter me all last season. He says, Matisse, imagine a world where Southampton does a double on us and then Leeds have a chance to do too. He goes, Porter says sour time settings. But he says always up the Chelsea, but you get the feeling that he's starting to run out. Costa says, Matisse, are you going to watch AFC AON with Potter?
Is that a team in the Conference League?
No, Arsenal's all or nothing,
Yeah, Arsenal's all or nothing.
See, I want you to start winning a little bit because I want him to stay. So I need you to start picking up some points.
Pity points.
Yeah, like just.
That's the worst thing. I can tell you this, right? As an Arsenal fan, when fans start pitying you, that's the worst possible thing.
You don't want to be pitied by Tottenham.
You don't want to be, Yeah, should we move on, or should we prolong the suffering of Matisse?
He's just so depressed.
He just looks so
sad.
down in the dumps and
He's ordering an Uber now.
Really sad. But I don't care because I remember when he was on here the other day saying when describing Man City, how we are going to get on because he wanted to see the demise of Arsenal.
We are.
So
we are
serve you right.
I wouldn't call it the demise. If you finish second, that's a great season.
A great season.
It's not a great season.
Yeah.
Not now.
If you finish second, that's perfect.
It is I do feel a bit sorry for Matisse, you know what I mean? Because it is a really bad situation. I just don't see how much longer Potter goes on for. You know what I mean? He just looks, you know, and so be careful with this because, you know, I was really disgusted to see that, you know, he was saying how he's been getting death threats to his family and stuff like that, which is totally unacceptable. But I do look at him and think, you look out of your depth, man. Chelsea's a huge job.
Where would he go?
There's so much scrutiny. I think he could get another job. You know,
I'll tell you where he'd probably end up. I'll tell you where he'd probably end up. Yeah, he'll probably sack him the end of the season, and he'll probably end up at us. But he was such a highly sought-after manager. He was,
he still is,
and he still is, and he's known for being a really good tactician. So I don't know what is going on at the moment, and I don't know if it is to do with just the madness that is surrounding Chelsea as well.
Little bits.
No, it's what's reported. Like even like journalists and stuff would tell you he's a really astute manager and tactician.
Abby, where's? Because even at Brighton, they didn't win nothing, did they?
It's not about.
They were playing good football.
Every manager starts off at a lower level team, and that's no disrespect to Brighton because I'm a big fan of Brighton. But every manager starts off at a lower level team. What manager walks into a big job unless you're
when I started thinking about it, and I remember, like, even when he got the job, I was thinking to myself, I remember one time at Brighton, he was going through a really bad patch, and the Brighton fans were getting on him. They hadn't won again. It was this last season.
Yeah, I remember they were booing him.
He said to the Brighton fans, "Yeah, listen, remember."
Because they booed at the end of the game.
They were booing, yeah.
And he said,
and those little things, I was thinking,
yeah, okay.
Chelsea fans ain't gonna.
People are mentioning.
They're gonna want your head if things start.
People are mentioning Arteta in the chat. Yeah, that he walked into Arsenal, but he'd also been coached by Pep for like 3-4 years before that. And there was just another chat here from Real Coaster who says he tinkers too much, but I think that's because he's got so many players. He doesn't know what his best 11 is.
Yeah, he tried to yesterday resort back to going with the tried and tested, but he's in a bad place at the moment. Black Kid here says Brighton is Potter's level, and El Martinez says Potter is Rangnick Part 2. Talking of Rangnick, let's move on to Manchester United, just ducking out of the league at the moment and going to the League Cup final. It was the League Cup final yesterday, of course, and it was Manchester United who came out on top, beating Newcastle by 2-0. Let's just have a word from the man of the moment, Erik ten Hag. This is what he had to say.
It shows something silverware, that you are on a good pathway, you are in a good direction. It's one cup, and it's February, but it shows we are in the right direction. And so this has to be the inspiration, this has to be the motivation to keep going, to continue on this pathway and to improve, to not be happy. Okay, happy, yeah, for 24 hours, but not be satisfied, because satisfaction, that leads to laziness. And when you are caught lazy, you don't win any more games and you can't win trophies.
Erik ten Hag there. Tina says with a super chat, and the fear of United are back to Ten Hag in just under a year. And more is to come. We're gunning for the Premier League and the FA Cup. There's loads of comments been coming in from our Manchester United fans. Perth Luxury, who's a big Man United fan, he says, hello Don Robbie, me again, now for the quadruple. There's another one here, let me just get it here. This is Sully. He says, you can win the title. SK's United. First trophy of the season in the cabinet.
I mean, a Carabao Cup's a great trophy to win. Too comfortable, it's lazy. Listen, massive credit to Manchester United. And again, people in the comments are saying I never give them credit. There's your credit, all right? Hold that, enjoy it for 24 hours, and then you go again. But Robbie, can I just point out the route to the Carabao Cup final for Manchester United?
Yeah, I knew you'd have a caveat in there.
Of course, all right? Hold it for 24 hours, well done. Everyone called it a Mickey Mouse Cup last year when we won it. It's the World Cup. This year, it's fine. But round 3, at home to Aston Villa. Tough game, came through it 4-2. Round 4, at home again to Burnley. Came through it 2-0. Quarter-final, at home again to Charlton. All right, 3-0 came through it. Then they went away to Nottingham Forest, won 3-0.
Well, it was a two-leg semi-final.
And then won 2-0 at home.
Forest near the bottom of the league.
And then they've beaten Newcastle in the final. So it could have been an easier run.
It's a very easy run.
Not really. I mean, it was a very easy one, if we're being totally honest. However, again, you've got to win it. You have to go and win it. And in the final yesterday, I think they were probably under the cosh for the first half an hour. The first goal, mate, listen, splitting hairs. It could have been given offside. It could have been given onside. The second goal has to be Karius' fault. Again, had a decent game in the second half, but how he's not saved that one, I just don't know, if I'm honest. And it's shades of Karius.
But are they back though? I mean, like that gentleman said. I mean, players like Casemiro, you see, like just oozing class, experience, big time playing. I mean, Lisandro Martinez. You know, they look solid at the back. Varane, you know what I mean?
The spine's looking good now,
they're looking a team again. And then, of course, Rashford up front.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're still in for 4 trophies. Let's not forget, just before that game, they'd beaten Barcelona.
In the round of
32.
who
8 points clear of the team that just came and beat your guys 5-2.
That doesn't really explain it, though. Like, Real Madrid, in my opinion, Real Madrid are a lot better. Let's not forget
they're 8 points clear of Real Madrid.
But they did lose yesterday to Almeria 1-0.
They did, but I'm just saying.
Barcelona are top of La Liga.
They're top of La Liga.
No, exactly.
Above Real Madrid.
Yeah. No, you just said that.
I've watched Real Madrid quite a few times. They've been struggling this year.
Sorry. Struggling this year.
They've struggled at times, yeah.
As much as you?
Well, no, that's not the point.
Okay,
that's not the point.
No, listen, you have to give them the credit. They've won a trophy, and let's move on.
Wow.
Are they back?
Yeah, no, they are.
I mean, you just said a while ago you would have loved Ten Hag
I mean,
at Chelsea.
In hindsight, if I could have realigned the times, this is the kind of manager that you want at your football club if you're going to bring someone in under a new, regime. Because, like I said, the way he speaks, he means business. You see how he dealt with the Ronaldo situation. He got a lot of criticism from a lot of pundits, Roy Keane, etc., talking about you can't get rid of this guy. You don't know what you're doing if you're getting rid of this guy. He was brought onto Sky Sports and interrogated Robbie by their pundits, and he got through that. And 100%, he's look at the in-game management. Look at the substitution against Barcelona to hook off Weghorst immediately at half-time. Anthony comes on, changes the game. Against Newcastle, they didn't play that well, to be honest. Newcastle dominated the first half in terms of possession, but they were 2-0 up. And the way he speaks, it's almost like he demands success, he demands winning. And when I said he was pragmatic earlier, some people in the chat say, oh, you can't say that. Manchester United scored some really good goals, some really good team goals. Even when they lost at Man City with Anthony, great team goal in the 6-3 defeat. Rashford's got a really good team goal on his roster in the last couple of weeks. But when they feel like, okay, we're not going to dominate today. We're going to sit back. Look at them at the Emirates, or at Old Trafford when they beat you at home. They decided that, we're going to sit back, we're going to play on the counter. He's not so stubborn in his ways of, we must play this way, we must. He wants results. Results is what he must, that's what he must get. He's not interested in, I'm going to completely, play to my philosophy regardless of whether the players can do it or actually apply it. Depending on injuries, he's adapting. And this is his first season with 2 loanees in January. If he goes into the summer now and gets backed again properly, depending on obviously the switch of ownership,
Harry Kane maybe.
Then next season, I think they'll be challenging for the title next year. I mean, this season they're already almost
challenging
doing
for the
it.
title this season.
Yeah.
I mean, you said Abby earlier on that they're challenging for the title. They've won their first trophy. Are they back for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think everything that kind of Matisse and Alex have said is the same as what I would say. I think he's been building very, very steadily. Ten Hag, I'm very impressed by what he's done at United. Even when you think, I wouldn't have expected them to be challenging or where they are, so even, in Ten Hag's first season, but they had such a good transfer window. Casemiro, for me, signing of the whole of last summer. I put Zinchenko up there as well. But Casemiro has just been unbelievable, and like you mentioned,
that guy,
the spine of the team is there, and I think when you've got a solid spine, that is what makes all good teams. And I think winning this one, people might laugh it off, but it's still a trophy. And
although Jose Mourinho did also win,
he did, but this is different. Ten Hag is he's a very different manager. Jose Mourinho.
It's more long term with Ten Hag.
Yeah, this is a long term thing. This is not just like and also he doesn't play up to the media. He's a totally different manager.
Yeah.
And
develops young players. As well. That's another very important factor.
He's done so well in such a short space of time. Actually, if you think about it, at United, and I think that they are most definitely back. I think they're in the title race. I use it loosely.
still, because I don't know if they've got the forward power, take Rashford out of that to compete the whole way. But I think next season, you know, whoever they get as a centre forward and whatever kind of other recruitments they make, I think they'll be absolutely challenging next season.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, with me and Ten Hag, and I look on this with a lot of managers, right, and this is always a thing for me when a manager comes in, and that is, it's not just about the players you've brought in with you. Can you make some of those players that are there better than they were before? And I look at like Arteta, for instance, I'm like, you've made Granit Xhaka better since you've come in. The last 2 seasons, he's improved so much. I see the same sort of things with Ten Hag, and I mean, he's come in, look at Rashford, how much he's improved. You know, look at Luke Shaw.
Wan-Bissaka, I mean,
Wan-Bissaka,
brilliant.
Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka.
He can tackle that boy.
You know, he's improving players, you know, all over, and they really believe in him, and they're buying into everything.
Even
that
like
he's
someone
doing.
like Fred, I think's improved
Fred,
dramatically.
yeah, that's another one. Fred,
like
he's a
dramatically.
massive improvement in Fred. He's got the confidence back in him. He's got the confidence back in the whole team, and I can see why Manchester United fans are really excited at the moment, because
I would be.
he looks like a proper manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looked like a guy who was very fortunate to be there, and he knew it.
Yeah.
Right? Graham Potter, to me, comes across as a guy that thinks, I'm fortunate to be here. Ten Hag don't come across as that type of guy. He comes across as the type of guy that I'm here to do business.
Yeah.
I'm here to win trophies. And you saw him yesterday saying,
If you're not with me, get out.
yeah, and he's saying, he goes, we want more. He goes, this is just the start. We want more. You know what I mean? He's not hiding from the fact that he's demanding more trophies, and I like that from him. The one thing I would say about him that, you know, honestly, it's terrible, right? And, you know, I think after what I saw yesterday, that exonerates me, is his dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible. Right, I saw that little dance moves that he was doing
With Anthony and
Lisandro Martinez and Anthony, and he was awful.
Moves?
But you know what? But that,
your dance, your Thomas Partey dance. Put
my
that
Thomas
one to
Partey
shame.
dance was better than that, I tell you.
It was
but
stiff,
you know what?
but
You know
it's
what?
still better.
But even that little thing that little dance that he was doing, that showed another side of him to me.
Yeah.
That showed another side that probably we don't see,
Yeah.
that they probably see in the dressing room. That he can be that guy that's friendly. He can be that guy that, like, you know, he's one of them. But you also know, and you could see it, that he's a man about business. The one that that time when he dropped Rashford, that showed you that he ain't playing.
He's not. Yeah, he's not scared.
And he's starting to get his rewards.
Very good manager.
H High says, I love AGT's tears. SK says, AGT, you had a bus parade for the Carabao Cup.
Plus another trophy that we won. But if that's your narrative, then that's fine.
SK says, we
Thanks for
just
super
need
chat.
our last chain. The Glazers gone, and then we're fully back. The Glazers are still trying to stay.
The Glazers were at the game yesterday.
One of them was at the
How
game
did
yesterday.
They get out alive?
Well, they won.
Well, yeah, but they were still singing "We Want the Glazers Out,"
Yeah, that
even
was loud.
as they were winning.
That was loud.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the United fans let that happen.
There is a rumour that the Glazers might try and sort of stay. So
Maybe they didn't leave. Who said they left the stadium? They
Don't go anywhere.
They just probably just
waited for everyone to go.
wait for
They said,
everyone to
coast
go.
is clear. Run, sprint to the car, sprint to the helicopter.
significant win for Manchester United yesterday. Just running through some of the other scores of the weekend. Everton 0, Aston Villa 2. Very damaging defeat, that one, for Everton, who've been so strong at home in this, you know, since the new manager's come in. And a good win for Aston Villa.
Massive
They
win
were
for
on a
them.
bit of a
They'd lost
poor
3
run.
in a row before that.
Yeah, lost 3 in a row, bounced back. Another massive win, another one of those 6-pointers was Leeds beating Southampton
massive, yeah.
by a goal to 0. Showing you how to beat Southampton, Matisse.
Well, we haven't beaten Leeds either. We got the next.
Good luck.
But that was a massive win for Leeds as well, with the 2 teams down there right at the bottom. And another sort of bottom of the table clash. West Ham beating Nottingham Forest by 4 goals to 0.
mad.
Again,
That was incredible.
Very, very impressive by West Ham. They needed that.
What a goal.
I think David
Declan
Moyes needed
Rice.
that, didn't it? Great
Yeah.
goal by Declan Rice.
I think they scored their first goal in the 76th minute,
Yeah.
and then in 10 minutes it was 4-0.
Yeah.
They just went
Unbelievable
Confidence.
performance from
So
West
looking
Ham.
at the tables as it stands, at the bottom of the table on 18 points is still Southampton. They're joined down there by their South Coast rivals and neighbours, Bournemouth, They're second from bottom in 19th place on 21 points. And Everton dropped back into the bottom 3 on 21 points as well. With Leeds coming out of it, they're on 22, West Ham on 23, and Wolves and Leicester on 24, Nottingham Forest on 25. Very, very tight down there. Very, very tight down there at the bottom. At the top of the league, it's Arsenal on 57 points. Just behind them, 2 points back, Manchester City on 55. Manchester United, of course, who didn't play at the weekend because they were in the League Cup final, they're on 49 points. And Tottenham now coming to the top 4 on 45, just above Newcastle, who've got 41 points. But of course, Newcastle are in the League Cup as well. Fulham in 6th place on 39. They got that draw against Wolves on Friday night. And Liverpool currently in the Conference League places with 36 points, but still a way to go. And there's going to be games, of course, featuring during the week. They've got FA Cup, we've got a mixture of FA Cup games and league games.
Looking forward to it. Big league football.
League
And there's
game
also
for Liverpool, and you've got Wolves, and Arsenal have got Everton.
There's also a Madrid derby on. The El Clasico on Thursday night.
Big week of football.
It is.
So lots of games going this week. But it's been a good weekend of football. It's been a really, really good week. Well, unless you're Matisse.
And by the way, every week that you come and bombard us after Arsenal have won 3 points on the Saturday football show, it's not appreciated. Actually.
That's because you lot have always given me so much. You know what? I sit there and I see you lot. You're all hating.
I'm not hating. I've just said that I think
there was one week that you was joining in. You know what I mean? I thought you was all right. But there was one week where you were. That was the Aston Villa week. I said you were all in it. You know, you were all in it.
Yeah, but her energy just rubs off onto me sometimes.
What you're talking about?
Fuad's up there as well, stirring it up. I was
Why would we be happy? Like,
That's the
why
thing.
would Fuad and I be happy? We wouldn't.
And people say
It's
AGT is so salty about United. I'm not supposed to like them.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, are you surprised?
I don't get it. Like this, it's weird when people say, "Why would you want City to win?" It's like, well, obviously I want City to win the league because I don't want Arsenal to win the league.
on, bro.
And it would be the same if it was the other way
I think
around.
people are fresh off the
It's
World
very
World
odd.
Cup where you're
Very
supporting
odd.
everybody's
Yeah, like this ain't no
nations.
friends. No friends after kick-off, guys.
No, never.
That is very true. That is very true. Have I got any comments here that I've missed? If I have, I apologise. I think I've done them all. I think I've done all them super chats. Oh no, this one here, fetch Cecil sick bucket. Marshall says, oh no, I did that one already. Yeah, I think I'm up to date.
You're up to date, man.
I think I'm up to date. No, NTT Music says Abby Maguire has more silverware than Harry Kane. They're really. Why are they coming at you like that for?
Yeah, great.
That's not very nice.
The day end and why Tottenham haven't won a trophy, it is what it is.
But listen,
I'm over it.
I keep telling you, take that trophy over top 4, man.
I'm over it. Well, we still could win an FA Cup. Could win a Champions League.
What happened last time you got to the final?
Shut up.
Okay, shit. And that's the time to end the show.
Yeah, that is the time to end the show. We've come to the end of the show today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for everybody who sent in your comments. We, of course, will be back next week, Monday, with another weekend roundup. And as I said, a lot of games going on this week as well during the week. FA Cup games, Premier League games. So big games happening. Matisse, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I know it's a bit painful for you today, but listen, right, respect you for that. AGT, thank you very much. And Abby, as usual, thank you. Thank you to you guys. Don't forget to subscribe here, and also don't forget to check out our brand new F1 channel that is coming up this week. Make sure you check that out, F1 returning. You're a big fan of F1, aren't you?
I am very excited.
Yeah, you're going to be part of it as well. Matisse as well, big F1,
very much
F1 fan as well.
Some escapism.
Yeah.
Maybe you just do F1 from now on.
To be fair, a lot's going to depend on that car.
His car will break down.
Yeah.
He likes
Mercedes.
He spent millions on it.
Mercedes.
He likes Mercedes.
He'll spend millions on it and
Bank
it'll
on
break
that car.
down.
It's all right. Come over to Red Bull. Don't worry. Have
Not
some
a chance.
success.
Oh, so you've got teams. You're okay.
We're actually
I might watch it
rivals
then.
We
again.
actually generally are
Massive rivals again.
Yeah.
So it looks like Matisse, you got the Williams right now, not a Mercedes right now. But listen, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.